Good morning. What's up, YouTube, man? Hey, man, I just been thinking, man, like my mind's been going. I probably have done way more critical thinking in the past 5 years than my whole life in schooling, which is probably sad to say, but it's just for me like wow, every single day is mind-boggling, mind-blowing. But I just got on here just to not necessarily rant, but just think out loud. That's why it's called thinking out loud. And sometimes we get so concerned with being right or wrong, we don't just think out loud and see what everybody else is thinking and feeling and see if you're the only one out there. Because I'm pretty sure I'm not. But it's very strange to me how life has mapped itself out. And what I mean by that is, I mean like how our natural world of reality is versus what we see in the movies. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see any difference other than the fact that they are actors and making a film. But a lot of the stuff that they put on movies, they try to portray as fantasy or not capable of being done. But a lot of times, you got to ask yourself, well, where did they get these ideas? Where did they get the idea of all these different type of movies that come out? It don't matter whether it's happy, sad, comedy, romance, whatever it is. It seems as if, like, for me, I feel like I base a lot of my life off the Bible. Does that mean that I'm only one way and I'm not open minded? No, that's not true. I'm very open minded. I would love to see what other people are thinking, what goes on in their mind and how they feel. And because this isn't. I was raised in a Christian home. I was raised to go to church every Sunday. I was raised in those traditions, just like a lot of us are raised in the tradition. You don't get to pick when you're a kid, hey, I want to decide to do this. No, you're usually raised up however your parents raised you, and usually that's how they're raised. And a lot of times these traditions that we get, come to find out, they're a lot of them aren't biblical. That goes from for Christians and Catholics alike that say they're believers and followers of Jesus Christ. I believe there's only one way, and one way for me is called the truth, and the truth for me is the Mashiach, the Messiah. Now, that being said, there is no biasness in what I'm going to say. This is based upon, because I know a lot of people that say they believe in Jesus Christ, but they don't see the way I see. And some people that may not even believe in Jesus Christ may see how I'm see. So that the religion has nothing to do with it. I don't believe in religion. I believe in a relationship with my creator. And I do believe he has inspired and he can work through human beings as we are willing to be worked through. If we're not willing to be worked through, God's not going to force himself upon us. But just it's amazing how you watch these movies and you got all these different things and you're like, man, that's dope. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of special effects and things that you see on like Fast and Furious, Mission Impossible. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the storyline of a lot of these movies, like The Purge. I mean, there's a lot of movies out there. The Traitor, The Gray State. There's so many movies out there that have portrayed what has gone on in reality. And it's kind of scary because it seems like people in these films know what's about to happen and they're kind of predicting it in a way where people won't even see it. It just goes right over our head. The movie Red Dawn. I mean, there's so many movies that have predicted and portray in our films, especially in America, who we are. I mean, there's so many movies out there. Just Traitor, using Traitor is one. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I don't look at movies just for the entertainment. I look at the story behind it. I look at the subliminal messages in it. I believe in the subconscious mind. So I believe in imagery and numerology and all these secret symbols and things that help your, that not help, but it makes it's almost forced on you, like MK Ultra, like mind control. It's forced upon you, and it's just insane, like how these movies end up playing out the real role. Like a lot of times when we see whether it's superhero movies, Captain America's, the Batmans, the Supermans, why is it that New York City is always being destroyed? Why in those movies is, The Day After Tomorrow, what's the other one? Independence Day. They almost like they're programming you to believe in what they want you to believe in. Some of it's true, some of it's lies. Like the whole alien deception. How many movies have they made on aliens? Well, you can't make aliens unless you get people to believe in outer space, and you can't get people to believe in outer space unless you have gone there yourself. And that's where it starts. The biggest thing is crazy because I've known this about the moon landing and that it was fake, but the fact that it's starting to come out, they even made a movie on it to get you to still believe in it, because they understand people are starting to ask questions, realize, okay, if we've gone to the moon, why haven't we been back? If we say we're shipping off robots to Mars and we're trying to find civilization out in the universe or another planet to inhabit, how are we going to get all the millions and billions of people on this earth to go inhabit it on that land? That just doesn't make any sense to me. But who was it that spoke out? Steph Curry recently just spoke out about us never going to the moon. Bill Nye, the science guy, which was, he probably got paid to lie to us, and now he's starting to feel guilty because he understands the damage and the repercussions that happen when people continually lie. So all these people are coming out saying the moon landing is not real. Now, those two people, okay, I get, like Steph Curry's a basketball player, you're like, he's crazy. And then you got Bill Nye, and you're like, he was like a fake science guy, try to get you to laugh type of thing. But when you get the actual man that was supposedly the one that landed on the moon be asked by a young little girl a question, the little girl asked him a question, she said, why hasn't anybody been back to the moon? That's what she asked the astronaut. The guy, I forgot what astronaut it was, Armstrong, I think his name. She asked him, why haven't they been to the moon landing? Why haven't they been back to the moon? Well, he said that's a good question. You can go look it up for yourself. Type in astronaut admits they never landed on the moon. It should be on YouTube. See, that's the good thing about the age of information and the bad thing, because there's a lot of false information, but there's a lot of true information. So you have to separate the wheat from the tare. And he said, well, that's a good question, young lady. That's not a 7-year-old question, but I'll answer it. And he said, well, I asked that same question myself. And he said it clear as day. He said, the only thing I can think of is we never did. And that's so crazy, because now we have the technology to go look at the films. Back in the day, they had these old rusty films, you couldn't really tell. There wasn't much HD, 4K, none of that. But then you realize people that are, they're specialized in these things, they know how to work everything. So they go on the film and they figure out how, and come to find out, they used a lot of green screen in Hollywood film room to fake the land moon. Yep, we didn't ever go. That's why we ain't been back. But they needed to tell you that we went to the moon so that way you can believe in aliens. Well, we're not even going to go deep on that. We're going to leave that right where it's at. I want you to do the rest of your research. I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe in extraterrestrial as far as in this galaxy. Now, God, who knows? God could have made life forms on a whole nother galaxy, but you got to understand, man. Sorry, guys, my connection was messing up. But back to what I was saying, it's just amazing how many times we've been lied to. And for me, I just want the truth. I'm not looking for something to validate me as a person, as a human being. I'm looking for the truth so I can grow as a human being, because I'm going to make my flaws. I'm going to make mistakes. But I do believe in good. I believe in you can make a firm decision on living a healthy, good life and doing good unto others. And I believe you can also choose a wicked, immoral, evil life. I believe you have that choice. The problem I have with most people on that, when I talk about it and when I begin to, use the biblical origin of why the world's so evil, which is because sin entered this world because of the disobedience of Adam, a lot of people, they lose me. So I keep them. I say, hey, don't even worry about that. We're not even going to use the Bible. We're just going to say, how do you know good from evil? Like, how how is there a standard that you naturally have an intuition to know what's good and what's evil? Now, don't get me wrong. When you grow up, you have to learn. But overall, like, we know, like, you don't grow up and naturally want to steal. Like, oh, that stealing is a thing. No, like, you're taught stealing, and then you learn stealing, and it becomes a habit, and that's why you keep doing it. Lying, same thing. Sexual immorality, having, there's natural morals and laws that's been set up by the Creator, whether you want to believe it or not. It's set up. It's the way it is. You cannot change that. If that's the case, let's take man and woman, for example. You have a man and a woman. They can be very similar in some ways, but they're very different in a lot of ways. How is it that it's a coincidence that you can procreate with a man and a woman? Why not be able to procreate with a man and a woman with a woman? Well, that's not how the laws and the morals were set up. So I tell people, like, taking God out of it, if you want to take God and the higher power and divinity out of it, which I don't understand why. There's too much complexity of the way the world works to even disregard that there is a higher power and an intelligence that's greater than us. But you look at that, you hold the standard, and you say, okay, for instance, I tell people a lot of people are only evil and wicked because they feel like there is no God. Therefore, they feel like there's no judgment or repercussions or consequences to what they do. They believe in karma, which is a totally different thing from what I'm talking about. You go look that up. That is a religion. A lot of people say, oh, well, karma's gonna get you. And I'm thinking, like, you said you don't like religion, but yeah, you use karma as an example. The karma is part of the Hinduism religion. Nothing to knock nobody down, but it's being 100. Why is it that people continually live wicked? It's because they feel like there's no consequence. They feel like there's nothing gonna happen. That's why they continually do evil. And I tell people, well, if I knew there wasn't no higher power, if I knew there was no consequences, I'ma be evil too. I'ma be evil because I'm gonna get away with everything. It's like a video game. It's like playing Grand Theft Auto in real life. Grand Theft Auto in real life, you could do whenever, however. You could use a cheat code to get the police off you. You could pay them off, whatever. We have that in this day and age. We have that, and it's sad. But going back to the whole thing what I was saying about the movies, it's crazy how a lot of what goes on in the movie comes out and is really going on in our life. Look at the movie Taken, for example. Taken is a really deep movie to me because I feel like the person whoever made that movie, they were trying to do one or two things. They were either trying to glorify human trafficking, or they're trying to expose it and show how real it is. I don't know which one they're trying to do, but hopefully they're trying to do the right thing. And for me, it's deep because that type of stuff does take place. Human trafficking does take place. They do take little girls and women and children and sell them off to rich, evil, wicked people that can do whatever they want because they have money. Well, look at The Purge. We have a point in the Purge of the movie, the nation was in a crucial point where the nation was beginning to be divided. So in order to help that division, they believed in the movie that they should purge. They should believe everybody should get the evil out of them. They're basically promoting evil. They're saying it's okay to kill and steal and do all this and break the law on this one day because it's going to purge out all the evil out of you. In the other 364 days, you're going to be okay, which I don't know what logical sense that makes. If I want to be evil one day, I'm going to want to be evil every single day of my life until I decide that that's not who I am. But if you don't know no better and you're ignorant, that's just the way it's going to be. What's some other movies? Like, I mean, I can go in on so many. You can name, like, for instance, this is my biggest thing. Growing up, it's crazy how they push on you. And a lot of people, if I say, hey, do you believe in magic? They're like, magic ain't real. That's just fairy tales. I'm like, all right, true. You that's where you stand. Personally, that's what I thought too. Until I realized there are such things as witches and warlocks and sorcerers and people who deal with magic. I don't care if you want to call it white magic or black magic. It don't matter. The color don't change magic. And it's crazy how they promote Harry Potter. They promote Disney Channel, which is nothing but magic. They promote like even Cartoon Network now, Nickelodeon. A lot of them promote magic. Magic is the thing. Magic is perfect. Magic's good. Magic's not just evil, but it's good. There's two sides to magic. Well, ring check, y'all. There are people out here really doing that. They are really practicing magic and spells and sorcery and those type of things. You may not believe it. They're not going to come out and tell you that they're a witch or a warlock. Of course not. If you had that type of power to do wicked and evil behind the scenes without anybody knowing, would you tell them? Probably not. That's snitching on yourself. But they expose themselves subtly. If you're paying attention, if you're woke, if you're understanding and discerning, you can see that there's witches and warlocks that are devised to be used by these evil, wicked spirits to put spells on you. But yet they teach our kids that Pokemon and Digimon and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and Disney Channel and every other channel that wants to talk about magic, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, like, they're promoting this because why? They know it's real, and they know if you have a curiosity to it, as you grow up, you will start to drift into that realm. Then you'll understand how real it is, but you won't be able to tell anybody unless those that are already witches and warlocks. That's just me. This is what I'm thinking out loud. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong, but it just doesn't make any sense to promote something that's fake. And at the same time, it doesn't make sense to mock anything that's fake. A lot of people, they'll mock, God, mock Christianity. But for me, it's like, if I knew something's not real, why would I mock it? What's the point of mocking it? There's no point in mocking it. But because you know it's real and you want to discredit it, that's where mocking comes. That's where the scoffers come in. Okay? They try to discredit Almighty Creator. And I believe if we have eyes to hear and eyes to see and ears to hear, we will see these things out here. Now, what's the movie that I wanted to talk about? Lately, there's been a lot of transhumanist agendas. And if you don't know what transhumanism is, check it out. It's mixing humankind with, whether it's beast, technology, whatever it is, you're trying to mix, the two. You got the man turning into women and women turning into men, that whole nine. It's crazy how they have promoted this for years. They promoted iRobot, where Will Smith was part robot. They promoted this one movie with the dog, Alpha, I think it's called. No, not Alpha. It's some movie where the dog is a robot. Transgender. I just told you, transhumanism. You need to pay attention to that trans. There's something about that trans. What other things are there? That one movie, Shaped Underwater or something, where this girl falls in love with this type of beast underwater thing. I don't know if y'all seen that. I mean, they are promoting it in front of you. Now, if it's not real and it's just a fantasy, why promote it? Why? Because it's going to help the almighty dollar. Why? The almighty dollar, we know, is the lust of money. So it's not just the money, because money is used, but the lust of it. When you make money your God, the lust of money is the root of all evil. So there's going to be nothing but evilness that comes out. People that get in trouble for doing something bad, when they got money, what do? Pay that judge, and they get out of trouble. Money is the lust. The lust of money is the root of all evil. What else they've been doing? I mean, there's so many. I wish I had a list of movies I can go down and just name all the ones and show you guys how deep this thing is. It's so deep. It's beyond just you. Like, here's another thing that might blow your mind. Do you know what taxes really are? What are taxes? What is the definition of taxes? A lot of people don't know what taxes is. Well, back in the king and queen days, which there's nothing much different nowadays, they just lie to you and say there's politicians on the left and the right and you guys get to vote. There's no difference. The king's going to do what the king wants to do. Back in the king's day, all those that were in the kingdom would have to pay tribute to the king. And guess what they call that? Taxes. So when you pay your taxes, as much as y'all hate Donald Trump, you paying tribute to your president. And those that are rich usually don't pay taxes. Look at it. History repeats itself. History does not lie. If we figure out what was going on before, it will help us in this present day and the future. We will figure out not to make the same mistakes, but we continually make the same mistakes off of ignorance and believing that our government wants the best for us. When the only person that wants best for you is usually you and the Most High God. And most of us are not listening to that intuition of a conscience. That's another thing I talk about when people, well, you don't believe in higher power, you don't believe in conscience, you don't believe in none of that. No, none of that. But yeah, I just told you, how do you know the standard? How do you know what's good and what's evil? Who made that standard? Something had to create that standard. If like they just recently made a robot, Sophia the robot. Somebody created Sophia. But if Sophia decides that, hey, you're not my creation no more, I'm not going to acknowledge you, does that mean she's not created by the same person that made her? No, she's still created by her. She's choosing to rebel. That's called rebellion. That's the same thing with us and our creator. We choose to rebel and not accept because we're blinded, because we only believe what we see. But I tell people, no, you don't even believe what you see, because they out here doing what they doing and showing you, and you still don't believe it. It's called propaganda. And propaganda changed when that almighty tell lies to your vision, called the television, was created. And that's their new way of propaganda. They can promote it with the entertainers. They can promote it with shows. They can promote it in between with commercials, athletes. It doesn't matter. They can use that tell lies to your vision to promote whatever you want to work, whatever you want, whatever it is that they're trying to promote. Now, I just told you, conscience, going back to conscience. If there's no higher power, there's none of this. We don't even have a standard to know what's good and evil, supposedly, but we all do have that. And then that conscience, which is that standard that we talk about, knowing good from evil. We all cannot deny the fact that everybody has a conscience. Now, stopping there, not finishing, I'm not done there. That does not mean that people that are doing evil have a conscience, because God talks about in his word that those that do evil and wickedness have a seared conscience. And if you know what seared is, if y'all barbecue, you should know what searing means. It basically means it's shut off, it's trapped. So now they're at a point where there's no real consequences, and there are no real consequences between doing evil, and at the same time their conscience is seared. But if we take it and we say, well, what is the intuition of knowing? Like, what is that feeling when you have that feeling that just like, I shouldn't do that? What is that? That is God, guys. That is the Creator trying to help you. But if you sear that conscience, he will not speak anymore. That's like if my kids kept saying, daddy, 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 daddy. But I never ever decide to answer, and I ignore them. How you think they're gonna feel? They're gonna stop talking. Eventually, they're gonna stop saying, "Hey, daddy." That's how your heavenly Father is, the Most High. He's not gonna keep begging you to listen to him. He's gonna speak. He's gonna speak normal. He's not gonna have to yell. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he's gonna whisper. Sometimes he's just gonna talk to you. But if you choose not to listen to your conscience, you're edging God out with what I call ego, or what we call ego, edging God out of our life. Now, if the Most High God isn't real, and there's no divinity, there's no all-powerful God, why did you guys take prayers out of school? Why can't we read Bibles no more? Why are believers, true believers that believe in the biblical teachings and not just what the traditions of man been telling us, why is it that they're trying to discredit it? Why is China trying to rewrite the Bible? Why is it that the LGBT community always attacks believers in their faith? We're not out attacking them, they're out attacking us because we don't agree with what they do. But we ain't out there saying, oh, you guys are going to hell. We're not out there. I'm not. That's not. My God said, if you do judge, judge righteously. How you judge righteously? According to the standard. His standard. Not the standard I set. Because trust me, if it was my standard, it'd probably be a lot lower than where it's at. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you going to persecute one set of people? You got murderers, rapists, you got all type of people out here. But instead of attacking those people that are guilty, you attack those that are innocent. Now that is insane to me. Once again, you may not believe in the Bible, but for me, I do. And it makes sense to me. Not logical sense, straight sense. Because the same thing happened to Christ. He came on this earth to humble himself, to be in our place as a human being, to understand what we go through. And he chose not to deviate from his mission. He didn't sin. He kept every law that we couldn't keep, and he was innocent. But the people had the decision to tell Caesar, either you put this man that's a murderer on my right, on my left, sentenced him to crucify, or the one on my right, who's Jesus of Nazareth, the Mashiach, who is innocent, and all we're accusing him of is blasphemy. I don't know what's worse, blasphemy or murder. First of all, he never blasphemed. And if it was between the two, they're both sin. But he never blasphemed. It was a lie. So they lied upon him. And the people got to choose between the murderer and the innocent man. Guess who they chose? The murderer. And we still live in that day and age where people rather choose evil than they choose good, because it's easier to live up to evil than it is to live up to good. I promise you. It's easier to go out and steal something you need than to buy it when you don't got it. I promise you it's easier. A lot easier. But some of us have a conscience and we get guilty. And that's called conviction. There's nothing wrong with conviction. Conviction means you should be in a place where you understand, where you know what you did is wrong, and you should do everything in your power to make it right. Condemnation means not only are you guilty, you're worthless, you're nothing, and you're going to stay that way. That's what the enemy wants you to believe. And God just wants to convict you as if I was right here with my children and they did something wrong, and I convict them and tell them, hey, that's wrong, don't do that. I want better for them. So therefore, I tell them what's the right way to go. We fix it and we move on. Wherefore, if I was bashing them and say, you ain't never going to be good, you keep doing the same stuff, you might as well just stay that way. Guess what? They're more likely to stay evil and in a state of feeling guilty, so they don't want to do any good. There's no point in doing good because I still feel guilty. And that's the deception that we've been taught. And I tell people all the time, the enemy, not just Satan or the devil, not this character that they want you to fantasize about that's red with horns and a picket. No, I'm talking about the most beautifulest thing he was the most beautifulest angel in heaven. And now he is a magician on this earth. He can paint an illusion as if all that he has is perfect in a fantasy world. The world that you really are looking for, which is heavenly, above what we're used to. There's no way that I can sit here and say, not based upon what I've been taught, not based upon what was forced upon me when I was younger, because I was going left. Even though I was going to church, doing all that every Sunday, I was evil. I was doing some evil, wicked things. I was sleeping with a lot of women out of marriage. I wasn't married. I was a young kid sleeping around with women. I used to lie all the time. All the time. I used to steal when I didn't have money. What else? I mean, pornography. I can go down the list. And now, am I saying I'm perfect now? No. Because I'm saying I have grown out of all those things. Now, don't ever think I don't come up short. I do come up short. But I know better now. I know, like, if I don't got the money, I just don't got the money. I'm not finna go out here and steal. I even used to have that type of feeling where, if I knew when I tell the truth, that, even though I told the truth, something bad would still happen or I'd still get in trouble, I would lie because I didn't want to get in trouble. But it was like, once I started just telling the truth, even though it didn't come out the way I thought it would by telling the truth, I felt better as a person. Regardless of the person believe me or not, that's not up to me. But all these things, these sins that I had to get out of my life to hold up a higher standard, it's so hard, guys. It's so hard. But I know for a fact that there's good in me. And the evil that was put in me, and the reason why I was doing all those things is because I adopted that into my life. But that's not who I was. That's who I was. That's what I was taught. Once I started free thinking for myself and saying, hey, I could have easily dismissed God. I know a lot of people that grew up in the church and maybe even seen God's miracles and still dismiss God. I could have had that choice. So don't ever think because I was raised a certain way that it did not. That doesn't mean anything. There's some people that were raised and are atheists. There are people that are raised and change over to something else. I just came to find out that the Most High Creator is not in a box that Christianity, Catholicism, and every other religion wants to put him in. God is not contained by man. Man is contained by the Most High. And I just, like I said, I'm on here, I'm thinking out loud. I know I'm jumping from subject to subject, but that's where my mind is at. Does that mean I'm crazy? No, it just means I look at things differently now. I have a new perspective on life. Everything that goes on, it's crazy. Now, this is one thing that was crazy to me too, even growing up, 2008, when, Obama became the first black president. For me, I wasn't able to vote yet, but I wasn't, even if I was able to vote, I believe personally I wouldn't have voted just because someone's my color. Because I know a lot of cool black people, but I know a lot of twisted black people. So you just going off of a person based upon their skin color wouldn't do me enough. And then just looking out on the past of how they always used to talk about how presidents will make promises, but never when they get into office, they wouldn't even follow through with their promises. For me, I was already sketchy because he was really good at and persuasive at talking, very charismatic, so people would listen to him. He's not the typical black man you see on TV or what they portray as a stereotype as we're ghetto, we're obnoxious, we don't know no better, we're ignorant, and all those different things. But it was just strange to me how Obama got in office. With all the racism that we got going on in America, undercover and on top of the screen, with all the people getting shot down, for me to believe that they were okay for a full black man to get into the White House, there has to be something bigger. It has to be. It had to be a strategy. I don't know what kind of strategy it was. I have my theories that it was a strategy to get black people to just, oh, it's gonna be all right because there's a black man in the thing. He gonna look out for us. But during that whole time, no. Most presidents look out for the rich and the wealthy and those that are in power. But when he left office, it was crazy how when Trump got in office, how like Obama's still relevant. He's still relevant. He's relevant all the time. You see him on TV. He's the only president that I know in my lifetime, I don't know about before that, but my lifetime that's still relevant, and he's not the president. He's still relevant, he's not the president, which is crazy to me. Then I started thinking, I forgot one guy I was watching a video on, and he was just saying how there's a possibility that Obama can go for a third term. And the only time you can go for a third term is usually when, what was it, the whole third term where if martial law breaks out, then he would be full-blown dictator. That's the law. That's what they got written down. If martial law happens right now, whoever's in presidency can stay there. And then there was another one we're saying President Trump being assassinated, and some way, somehow, I don't know, there was so many different loopholes that they got going on to be able to bring him back into the office. And I thought about it. I'm like, people really loved Obama. Why? No, they portrayed, because they wanted us to calm down. They wanted us to relax. And then when they had us in a calm, relaxed mode with Obama, but when Trump came out, everybody started tripping. To me, I don't see no difference. Because last time I checked, Obama and Hillary were fighting when Obama was president. Then when Trump got president, then they became homies. I see politics and all that stuff just like wrestling. If you watch wrestling, you should know how this works. We know it's fake, of course, but how you get two people, they're fighting each other, they're on different sides, right? You got the one on the left, one on the right, one blue, one red, whatever. But in all reality, when the show's all said and done and everybody goes home and they go get their paycheck, guess who they getting it from? The same exact person. They work for the same exact person, portraying that they're really enemies in front of a large crowd, a mass of people. The same thing with government. The political, whether Democrat or Republican, I don't care what the hell you call yourself. Um, it's like wrestling to me. They argue, they fight, they keep us distracted, they act like little kids, and at the end of the day, they all get paid by the same person. President, to me, has always been a puppet because if he's not a puppet, why can't a president live like a king? Because it's the same thing. Our system is taken from the Greek and Roman systems. It's not a system we just made up. No, it's a system we have called it a different name. We called it a democratic, but I don't see it any different from a dictatorship or a kingship because if, like I said, if martial law break down right now, Trump is all in power and whatever he decides to do, he can do. Another thing I never understood. Say I'm a maker of guns and explosives. I can't make money unless people are shooting guns and blowing up stuff. That's the only way I make money because that's what I manufacture. I actually manufacture weapons. Now it's okay, guns are okay because I understand you got to protect yourself. But when you start going all the big stuff like grenades and rocket launchers and airplanes that drop bombs, and I manufacture this. If there's no war going on, because when war's going on, there's a lot more explosives. They're not just shooting guns. I mean, they're throwing grenades, all type of explosives. So it's not the guns I'm concerned about. It's all the extra stuff. If nobody's buying my stuff, I don't make money. But if there's a war going on, I make money. If we are not smart enough to figure out by now that war is a tactic to make more money for those that invest in wars, invest in the artillery, invest in all the guns and explosives and the bombing. If you don't think war is about profit, I don't know what you're thinking. Because the people that make the stuff, I'm pretty sure they're wanting the war to pop off. I'm pretty sure come on, I need a war because I need to sell these grenades. I need to sell these explosives. Come on, man. Put two and two together. War has never, they make it seem like war was just about, oh, we're trying to fight for our rights. No, most of the time, one person's going to the other side or the other person's coming to the other side and we making war. It's not like I don't know. I don't even know what would be big enough to even want to go to war. Like if I was a president, why would I want to go to war when I know hundreds, maybe even thousands of people will die? Young men in the army, women in the army will die because what? Money? Or because of distraction? Or because of oil? Or because of whatever damn excuse they make. They make so many excuses for war. There's no real reason why you should be going to war other than protecting yourself. If you got to protect yourself, I understand. But going to an all-out war country against country, unless it's about takeover and power and money, I don't see anything different from it. And these are, like I said, thinking out loud. So I said all this right now just so you guys can critically think. We need to stop letting people think that we're conspiracy theorists, because at the end of the day, I tell people, well, that's funny how people want to call me a conspiracy theorist. I call it a critical thinker. But yet you got people, scientists that have, they have the Darwin's theory of evolution, correct? Now, is evolution a fact or is it a theory? Because last time I checked, a theory and a fact are two different things. But yet they call it the Darwin theory still. I'm just saying. They said gravity is a theory. A lot of what they put on us as facts are theories. They even called it theories themselves. But we took it as, that's a fact because he said it. He did the research. So it's not a theory. I mean, it's not a theory. It's a fact. No, most of these things are theories of this is what I think, but I'm not sure if it's correct. Just the research I've done, but just like I'm putting to you guys, these are all theories, right? Well, in reality, not really. This is not a theory. These are just facts I'm pointing out. They're pointing to you. Well, we know that a neutron and a proton. Well, that's the blah, blah, blah theory. No, stop living in theory land. Let's get facts. Let's get truth. Let's start critically thinking about things. Let's start looking at the way things are. Like, they used to make cars so sturdy. Like, if cars get in an accident back in the days, you would barely put a dent in it because they made cars very, very well. But it seems like the more technology we get, the cars are made out of crap, to where when you see car accidents, you're like, what happened? Oh, well, he rear-ended me and their whole back end is smashed in. I don't understand it. Oh, but then I started critically thinking, saying, well, personally, if you're saying that there's global warming and you're telling me that we're too populated on the planet, which that's a lie, but they got to tell you whatever they need to further the agenda. How is this planet? You want to tell me all this whole world was made and it could be overpopulated? That doesn't make any sense to me. Because if that's the case, there should be too many animals too. Let me guess, there's too many animals too? We got too many endangered species before we have too many animals. It's called population control. And we have to understand that whole thing back with the car. If I make the car less sturdy, more people are likely to die in car accidents. If I poison the food and start making the food in artificially ways, people will die faster. Not only will they die faster, some of them will get sick and pay us to treat them with these pharmaceutical drugs. If you know what pharmakia is, check it out. Pharmakia is sorcery. It goes back to magic. You don't believe me? Look up the definition. You'll find sorcery. Pharmakia is witchcraft. Pharmacy, the biggest drug billion-dollar company. People worry about selling weed. You got people selling these pill man-made drugs and you can't even pronounce any of the names on it, and it got 1,000 side effects. We're going to show you a great commercial of a lady having a fun time out of her life, but tell her it has blood clotting. You have chance of blood clots and bleeding out and possibly death. And it's like, hold on, I don't even want to take that no more. But the commercial look real good. But what they saying don't sound good. And that's kind of like America. Straight pimping us out. That sound good. But when I look at it, it's totally opposite of what it's saying. And that's where you have to be careful. The Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no's be no's. Don't say one thing and do a whole nother thing. That's past being a hypocrite. That's straight manipulation. And like I said, I just clearly think. Now, when you're saying, Dante, you tell me all this, what can we do, though? The first thing we need to do is awaken our brothers and sisters to see what we see. And help them think for themselves and not like a zombie. Open their eyes to the blindness that we have going on in our lives. But the crazy part is, even though when I was a kid and I grown up, raised in church and all that, and I turned away from it and started doing evil, wicked things because of my association and learning all these things that I wasn't taught growing up, you know. And then coming back to finding out all these truths that I've been getting into since 2010, God has just been revealing a lot of stuff that's been going on. And then coming back closer to him, even in a greater way of not depending on just a pastor. Now, there's some pastors that are out there that are great pastors, but a lot of these people are false teachers, and they're getting paid that almighty dollar to lie to you and keep you under deception, to keep you in that slave mentality, so that way they can just use and abuse you until you die. They make it to where now at the point, like, if we haven't woken up enough in America to understand the American dream isn't real, it's a lie, and only a few people get through those crevices of crack, especially minorities, for us that feel like we get a better opportunity. Well, I did it. Well, that's good, but the statistics show that it's very, very rare. We should have it to where at least the statistics are rising to where people are getting better education and obtaining. But no, it's all about money in America. It's all about capitalization. It's all about getting up in the ranks. And not only can you get more money, but you can get more power with that money. And for me, I know that it's easier for a camel to fit through an eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of the Most High. And the lust of money is the root of all evil. I understand that what is a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? See, I know I have a soul that's more precious than rubies, diamonds, gold, silver, and money in itself. They want my soul.
They're trying to suck the life out of us every single day with the poison. And we must surround ourselves with righteousness and holiness and goodness. And with these things, we can not only, the goal isn't to make the world a better place. The goal is to make people know who they are. Because as we do that, no matter where the world goes, at least that soul is saying, the world does not have a soul. I can't save planet Earth because it don't have a soul. And even if I wanted to, I couldn't. But what I can say, if I could save souls. And all that is to get you to think. Think past religion. Go to truth. Because the highest thing we have in this life is truth. And if you can if the truth is being told, you can be set free from your mental prison. And you will never live the same. You will never live the same again. You will see what I see, and you will feel what I feel. You will hear what I hear, and you will understand it's all a part of a bigger picture. Now, this is a question I hear a lot. Well, if God is true and almighty and the judge, why haven't people that have gotten away with evil so long get away with it still? If you know his word, we know that God is slow to anger, but he is the one to come bring justice and judgment. He will one day soon bring justice and judgment. And those that have done evil, wicked deeds will come to an end. There will not be a continuation of evil. Evil will be destroyed. How many superhero movies y'all watch with good versus evil? And you always see good always wins and triumphs over evil no matter what. And there usually was a sacrifice. Well, that sacrifice was the Mashiach. That was the Messiah. That was the Savior. That's what some say is so-called Jesus Christ, but his true name is Yahushua HaMashiach. That's his true Hebrew name. Wherefore that Jesus name is a Greek name given by him, but a whole identity was put on that name and lies were attached to it. You ever think about, and this is, let me say this last thing before anybody else go on that page. People always want to say, oh, well, you're racist, Dante, you're racist. First of all, before I go into this next thing, racism, the definition of racism isn't just hatred. It's to systematically oppress, suppress, and depress a group of another people. That's true racism. Now, let me show you the difference between racism and hate. They're not the same thing. Well, Dante, you hate them, so that's racist. Nope. I can hate someone, and systematically, I can't do anything to oppress them or depress them or suppress them. I can't. I can hate them. They'll know I hate them, but that's not going to make a difference in their life. But if I'm racist, I'm going to set them up so bad that they will not only be in a physical prison, but they'll be in a mental prison, and they won't even know what hit them. We will make them fight against one another. We will make them divide against one another, so that way they will fall. We will make them suffer so bad that they don't even know who they are. That's racism. Now, going into my next part. You so-called Europeans, we're going to say Europeans. I'm not just going to say white people. We're going to say Europeans. So whether every country across the European border, whatever background you are in, if you're a European, if your descendants were Europeans, you guys must know that you guys have been in power for a very, very long time. Since I would say the days of when the Greeks used to rule, and then it was the Romans, and now we're here in Americas. You guys have ruled for so long. And that was predicted. But I'm going to tell you why you rule. You're not ruling because you're more powerful than those that you rule over. You're ruling because those that are under you didn't follow the Most High God. And because that, we were cursed with many curses. And part of those curses were slavery and oppression for 400 years. And part of that was taking us on ships and taking us as handmaids. That was a part of it. It's shooting us down the street. That is a part of the curse that our forefathers did when they didn't obey God by staying away from all these other tribes. I will say tribes or nations, or if you want to say race, when we chose to follow their guidelines instead of holding up the standard that God gave. And that's why we're in the cursed place we're in. We're not in here because you're more superior. This is God's hand on every single thing. But God is also a judge, and he's always going to help the balances get weighed out. So those that put people in captivity will be put in captivity. Those that put people to death will be put to death. You Europeans, the power shift is going to come. If you can't see how the world's, and look at the earth, look at the birthing pain, look at the volcanoes, the earthquakes, the fires in California, look at it, the tsunamis, look at the police shooting us down, look at the media of so many people that are truly racist that have been undercover for years are starting to come out and show themselves. Oh, we hate Mexicans, we hate immigrants, but yet y'all didn't say that to the Asians when they came over here. Y'all didn't say that to the Arabs when they moved over here. Y'all didn't say that to none of them when they migrated over here. But as soon as these other people try to migrate from down south, then now we tripping. Now we tripping. Now we want to build a wall. Not a wall to keep them out, but keep you in. See, that's the trick. They think they're keeping people out, but they're keeping you in. You ain't gonna go nowhere when they shut this thing down. Europeans, if you don't get yourself together, and it starts with you, you need to realize that you have inherited, all that you inherited has came off the back of slaves, genocide, rape. And I know y'all tired of hearing this. It's the truth though. And just because it happened 400 years does not make it any better. Time does not heal something that has not been put back in the balance and justice hasn't been served. The Most High is going to judge not only Europeans, but all those that help the Europeans. And that could be people that are, I don't care, my color, black, white, Chinese, whoever is helping you guys stay on top and is okay with you guys staying on top. The way you're staying on top, you will fall down. Because there's no way in the world a place was built off of slavery and oppression and genocide prosper to the point where it will never fall. No, see, God is he gonna tease you. He gonna let you rise all the way up. But he said, pride comes before the fall, and a haughty spirit before destruction. So we're gonna get all the way up here where we're so prideful and haughty, and then America's on, like right now, America's on the decline. It's on the decline, and there's nothing you could do about it. It's part of prophecy. So Europeans, get it together. Those that helping the Europeans and then okay with what they did and just throwing in the, you better understand that the Most High God is coming to judge. This ain't no racist stuff. This is truth. Y'all know that your ancestors broke so many treaties. You think they got this land because the Indians say, here, you can have some land. Matter of fact, you can have all our land. They were generous, but they ain't stupid. There was a treaty set in place. You guys broke the treaty because they didn't comply to what your ancestors wanted them to do. They had a whole different way of living life versus you. But they showed love and compassion towards y'all. That's why they wanted to help y'all. And y'all turn y'all backs. Y'all ancestors turn your back. You are just as much as responsible as they are. And I'm going to finish with this. There is a way to come back. Tell the truth. Europeans, start telling the truth. Start telling the truth. Start telling your brothers and sisters and all those around you guys the truth. Why the way the country is going. It's because, one, it was prophesied. And because of two, because whatever you sow, that's what you shall reap. So when the shift of power starts to come, when Obama tries to come back on the scene or President Trump is assassinated, whichever it is, I'm just saying things. I don't know if that's true, but hey, I'm gonna throw my predictions out there just like you throw a prediction for a game score. I'm throwing a prediction that Obama will be back in office for a third term, or President Trump will be assassinated, and there will be another civil war here on this land. Not only that, that we will be infiltrated from the inside out, not the outside in. When we chose to bring those Nazis over, them scientist Nazis over, as if they didn't do nothing wrong, but we actually took the same plans that they did, starting here with the mind, because they knew how the mind worked. Why do you think they brought those scientists over? Because they knew how the mind worked. And once they figured out how the mind worked, it was a wrap from there. It was a wrap from there. Now all we got to do is manipulate, program, and hypnotize you to do what we want. They think they're going to get away with it. But like I said, the Most High God is going to come judge that. I believe there's going to be a balance. And it's not just going to be heaven and hell balance. We're going to get that here. The shift in power is going to go just like this. In Europeans, you're going to become the minority. You're going to become the ones that are captive and oppressed. But the crazy part is, I believe with all my heart, when that shift of power comes, we're not gonna be, we'll nowhere be as evil as you guys were to us. And you know how I know that? Because with all the things that happened in history to minorities, all the killings, all the assassinations, all the torture, all the unnecessary innocent people getting killed, at all of that, we have not once tried to go out and kill a group of white people to get revenge. We didn't try to go out there and rape a bunch of white girls and sell them off. We didn't try none of that. If anything, for some reason, when we blow up, instead of attacking the person that is attacking us, we mess up our own stuff. That's how mentally imprisoned we are. I promise you, if minorities ran the world, especially, I'm sorry to say, especially black people, we will never be as wicked as the Europeans have been to many countries, not just black people. That they've been going over there to the Middle East trying to bully the hell out of Iraqis. That's how America's been. They go on other people's soil and bully them. That's how they did it in America, took over America, bullied the native and the indigenous people. Now they're doing it all across the world continually, still trying to bully people. But one day America's not going to be the superpower. One day it's going to power shift and there's going to be a takeover. And what are you going to do? Are you going to listen and heed to what I was speaking of? Or will you just keep moving on with your life and saying that man was crazy, nothing he said was right? I may not have been right this whole time, but there's some things that I think that will stir your thinking up to really think like, yeah, why is that? We need to stop having that mentality in life like you have this mentality in life like the problem is such and such, right? The problem is I keep let's say the problem is I keep getting sick, right? That's the problem. And then, you'll have those reactions towards the sickness. And then you try to bring in a solution, like, let's say, I'm going to give you something that will temporarily hold your cough and your cold for a few days. That is not fixing the problem. That will never fix the problem. We need to go to the source. Why are you getting sick? We need to figure that out first. Instead of just, hey, we're going to give you this to kind of mask the pain off. I want you guys to actually start going to the issue. Well, the issue is every day you come outside, it's cold day, you're not wearing no sweaters. Why are you crying, boy?